Just a sec. Yep, I'm live now. Cool. So,
Boom.
Did you already do it?
You are done with the chat. Hang out
Sweet.
for a bit.
Alright, cool.
Soul chest. Alrighty.
You've plugged. Good to know.
Hang and dance for a sec.
Yep.
What topic have you put it under?
I actually should check that with my stream manager because fucking.
Yeah, it doesn't seem you've done one. Is why I ask.
Only reason I can't do it is because fucking my main huge thing is that the fucking GeForce experience doesn't allow it.
Oh.
It's a streaming thing that I'm using.
Oh. Well, hello those who have showed up. Hi.
We're
just getting started at the moment, so give us a second.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yep, I have chat pulled up. I have everything ready.
Cool. I'm mainly going to be looking at it on your screen unless I need to get a closer look.
Yep. Okay. Sounds good. Alright. Should we get...
Can we talk about this start screen?
Yeah.
The style of fucking cool.
I thought so too. Like, genuinely the art that has been done for this has been kind of great, and you can kind of see it along the left-hand side here. I don't want to reveal too much, so like I can't get rid of it though. That's my problem. Oh, never mind. I can. I fucking lie. But the art that has been combed by 3 Plus Press or Plus 3 Press has been so far really, really good. And
whoever the art designer is, they did a good job. I'm impressed.
Alright, should we get started? Or do we wait for more people to trickle in? Alright. So for those that are here at the moment, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be skipping between like the Crystalpunk document, and we're going to be going through a Word document listing stuff for like what we think are pros and cons, but this will mainly be done at the end, I reckon, once we have stuff about game balancing for 5e directly. So if you want to bring stuff directly to 5e, game balancing for Crystalpunk, because they have a little bit of their own rules, so going to be going through them as well, but like how is it in terms of in its own little sort of world, and then everything roleplay in sort of the sense of like, okay, how do we think this would work RP-wise? How well is it? Could this be flavored better? And such forth. I think that's pretty much it. So, let's get into it. Yes, also, this is being done by Plus 3 Press. Now, we aren't being sponsored, so this is just us doing it off our own back. We asked, everything is fine. We're allowed to do it.
Paid them. No, paid them to do this.
Pretty much, this is just free publishing.
We are sponsoring them.
Yeah, we are sponsoring them. Alright, so, this is like kind of the introductory stuff. Like, this is just like, I don't know if we should read through this, but like...
have a look at the table of contents if you're able to zoom in. Just get us in there a bit.
So, the stuff that we're going to be going through today is practically all of this. There's an introduction. Obviously, there's different races. I believe that it's 7. No, there's more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 new races. Then we have like a class for every major class, like a new subclass for every major class, apart from like Artificer. But Artificer isn't actually. I believe it didn't become official till Tasha's.
Yeah. Tasha's brought in made it a thing. I
Yeah,
regret it.
yeah. They
So
they
yeah, we
nerfed the
have
shit out of it, and it was kind of deserved, though.
the one subclass for every PHB class and
Yeah,
2 additional classes of their own making, which are a little interesting.
yeah. We'll get into those. We'll definitely get into those.
The equipment we may gloss over a little bit, as most of it is just standard magic items and weaponry.
Yeah.
Though
No,
there's a couple things of note in there.
yeah. Feats, there's not many, so we'll practically be skipping through that and spells too.
The last chunk will be we'll kind of lightning around it.
Yeah. Everything is kind of lightning round after the classes. Alright, let's zoom out a bit. Okay, so the introduction is basically like just some flavor to try and get you into the sort of Crystalpunk sort of look. Also, can I just say, I love the look of this. This is just so beautifully artworked. I love the sort of like glow that it has. Like the artists have like really put in their all for this, and honestly, clap for you guys because that looks fucking mint.
This poor girl in the background that I have honestly only just noticed, despite having looked at this book a number of times.
All right,
If
so
I go to my own PDF, that's actually the page that I'm on currently, and I didn't notice she was there till right now.
all right, so this is just okay. So there's a brief overview of the world. So okay, let's have a look at this because this is stuff that we can use for roleplay and all that. So we might as well get into this. Okay, so for creating a character, handle. Most people in prismatic titles have a handle, which is a nickname they use instead of their given name. These are often short and sweet, something like Zero Blade or Witch. Um, yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of like
A bunch
it's
of
meant
people
to,
running around with gamer tags.
yeah. Hello, gamer girl, XX gamer girl. But like it makes sense. It's meant to be like a sort of spin on cyberpunk and but like all that obviously Crystalpunk. So little bit of like a nod to that. New character options. When choosing a race, class, subclass, spell, or feat, new options are available to you throughout this document. Um, yeah, we'll be going through those. Equipment, Crystalpunk equipment rules are being used in your game. Determine your equipment using the rules found in the equipment section. Uh, there are skill alteration rules, apparently, that we will be going through when creating our characters. Or, no, not when creating our characters, but, we'll be going through those because skill replacement or alteration is a very iffy thing if done wrong. Because a lot of the skills, I think, in 5e are pretty, like, encompassing. Like, there's not much that really, they don't
They're
include.
really not. There is a lot they don't include. As
Really?
as uh,
You
as
think?
someone who has had to gut the 5e system and rearrange it quite a number of times now, um, I'm curious to see what they do. Because
Alright.
5e is a really good blank canvas
Mm.
for other people to then come in and mess around all up in those guts. 5e misses a lot that comes up more often
Mm.
than not in its own games.
Alright, running games. Okay, so this is kind of important for us. Rules. The rules section
Yeah.
details optional rules which are highly recommended for Crystalpunk games. Determine which of these rules, if any, you'll use in your game. Okay, so they are highly recommended. So we get to look at those a bit and just point fun at them. I don't know. Enemies. Monster stat blocks are not in this playtest, so that will probably be coming with the full. Because this is currently the playtest, as like it's a. We will be doing a full breakdown when it fully releases. This isn't a. Like, this is just a playtest at the moment. It should be releasing sometime January next year, I believe. January, February next year. Not saying that you guys are probably going to stick around for that long, but we will be doing one then, hopefully, once it finally releases. Currency. Small pieces of
I
crystal.
like this one.
Yeah.
The use of crystal and currency is pretty cool.
Yeah.
As someone who implements a lot of crystal stuff in their games already, in fact, I have a whole campaign coming up about it. I do like that.
Pieces of higher worth are cut from higher rarity gems. Okay. So,
Yeah.
also sometimes referred to as shards or bits. Okay, that's really cool. Because that kind of like also plays off like sort of like eddies and creds,
Yeah.
and like bits are also used, I believe, in one sci-fi game. Can't remember.
Yeah, I
Magic
mean,
Tech.
the currency in Crystalpunk is the same as the currency on Twitch.
Yeah. um, please give me some bits. This is a joke. Magic Tech. All pieces of magic are powered. All tech are powered by magic, from watches and flashlights to firearms and vehicles. And so, okay. Oh, okay. Mana. Mana is mana. Mana. What do you use? What do you use?
Use mana.
Mana. Mana is the main power source that drives tech. Liquid mana is generated in two ways: from people whose job is to produce mana, often called mana slaves, and from souls trapped in mana batteries, which are held in soul power plants.
Hell yes.
That's really cool. I like that. I've heard a little bit about like the mana batteries. We'll probably get into them a bit more, but like it's an interesting idea, and I really like what they've come through with it. Spells as technology. Spells are the most common device used to perform tasks. They're often performed by mana techs, who are spellcasters that use raw mana to cast spells. See the mana technician feat in the feats section of this document. Okay. The spells section of this document details many spells with clear purposes within the city. Many pre-existing spells are also used in a similar way. Prestidigitation is used for cleaning, Find Familiar is used to summon ravens that deliver messages, and Continual Flame is used to create permanent lighting. Yeah, that makes sense. I
Yeah.
I don't think that this is anything really of too much note in terms
Well,
of
this is all RP flavor and stuff. I like that they've done some world building of their own already. Like just for game test.
decent
Uh,
world building already.
so like as someone who is already writing a small campaign for this, these little details are quite nice.
Mm.
I've got many an idea for a kind of dystopian, almost like a Dishonored style world.
Yeah, instead of it being like semi-steam slash oil punk, whatever they call it in Dishonored,
Yeah,
it's a bit more crystalline, obviously.
more crystally. Though some of the tech is pretty easily interchangeable.
Yeah. Arcane crystals. Arcane crystals are special magically infused crystals that are used to draw mana from a user. These crystals are the core of every magical device and serve as the core component for arcane firearms, tools, instruments, and prosthetics. These I'm interested to see more about, because prosthetics are a little bit iffy from D&D. Like, every time someone talks about prosthetics, it always brings up either some sort of like people who are just like, you should never have them because greater restoration, yada yada. Okay.
I tell those people that greater restoration does not repair the body. You would need regeneration.
Yep.
Uh,
And, like,
which is tricky.
yeah,
It's tricky.
magic, like magical healing is like such an iffy thing as well in games because it's like there you
The
can
spell that you would need to repair a lost limb is a seventh level spell.
yeah.
That is not a common thing for people to just have a 7th level spell laying around. Not to mention, there's not that many classes that can learn it.
Also, like you can just straight up reject it if I remember correctly. It's not something that can be forcibly cast upon you. You can opt out.
No,
Oh, really?
it can't be. Yeah,
Uh,
there
it
is
does it.
no
It's not like
there is no
resurrection.
willing requirement.
Ah,
No.
okay.
It just takes an hour to cast.
Hmm. Infernal engines. When more power is required, such as for vehicles or elevators, infernal engines are used. These engines hold captured fiends, which are used to power the machine. To keep these demons alive, they are fed a soul every couple of years. I like that. I
I
don't know
like
about.
it because I already use it.
Oh, really? I didn't know that you used this already. That's
Yes,
interesting.
I have a similar system for some communities in my world that do this, and not just with fiends, but also fae and various other worldly creatures.
True enough. Corporate cults now. 7 corporate cults run the city of Prismatic Falls, which I believe is the main area.
I like
Prism.
the lack of the use of word gangs here.
Yes, gangs kind of this suck.
They're just
But
cults.
yeah, a corporate cult too. So it's kind of going against the man as per usual with most cyberpunk stuff. Um, each worshipping a single god. Also, I will mute my fucking phone now. Um, here's a brief overview of these gods and their followers. The Kingmaker. The Kingmaker is the god of battles, entertainment, and misinformation. Their cult consists of gangs, rebels, and spies. Okay. The Contractor. The Contractor holds business deals above all else and calls to those who consider wealth of great importance. So, like the 1%. The Knight. The Knight is the god of mercenaries, sentinels, and those who defend the weak. Their cult makes a valiant effort to enforce law across the city. The police, I suppose. The
Yeah.
Handmaiden. The Handmaiden is the god of family, health, and harvest, and is seen as the most benevolent of all the gods. The Minstrel. The Minstrel is the god of romance, trust, and annihilation, consisting of skilled artisans. The followers of this cult are unforgiving and sly. The Reveller. The Reveller is the god of humor, celebration, and camaraderie, and encourages followers to accept all of the wonders of life. The Wanderer. The Wanderer is the god of rebels, the poor, and the cycle of life. They lack an organized following and instead spoken of in whispers, tales told between the less fortunate and those who hope for a better world.
I like these.
I do too.
This is kind of its own,
Oh
like the
shit.
game's own pantheon.
Yeah.
And they're simple. They're not super like expanded upon. There's no, you know, these are their usual following people and stuff.
I think they're simple but well thought out.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, I
What is
love
it?
how. Oh, sorry, you go.
The minstrel. I like.
Yes. Yeah.
If I were to play like a rogue or something, that would be my go-to.
I also love how kind of androgynous they are. Like they are very non-binary with the sort of gender role of all of them.
I think other than the handmaiden,
Yeah,
yeah,
like all of it's yeah. Apart from the handmaiden, all of them seem really like you could have them appear as one or the other, or just straight up just like have them appear as like a terrestrial being. You know,
yeah, yeah. I
like
don't think there's a single actual like pronoun used in the readout. No, there's not.
yeah, even with the
Yeah,
handmaiden, like
they're interesting.
yeah, I like
And you
how you can
feel like
flavor them. You can make them look however you want. There's no like definitive like this person like the way that this god looks in all the clerical depictions, yada yada.
um, it's a good, uh, you know, couple of small coverall tenets and like
Mm.
what they represent, and then much like most cults, you interpret it yourself.
Yeah. All right, time to scroll down a bit.
It is. So next we've got monsters.
Ooh, I have to say,
Although there's only so much about it.
prismatic falls. I will say is looking kind of nice. Like I
Yeah,
like that. I
it
reckon
does
it's
look
like
solid.
uh,
I can't point it out here, but the generator thing on the right side, I'm
this,
gonna call it a generator.
like this one, like the little like thing that has like floaty
Wait.
horns.
Yes, yeah, that one. The big crystal in the middle and like the floating crown around it.
Yeah,
I I like the look of that, just straight off the bat. These floaty dudes with the other crystals and stuff in them.
yep,
I like those.
yeah. I also like the car, the like little 1% car. Like obviously
Yeah,
that's like some fucking rich fuck. Um, I also love the use of like a barren landscape and like very like there's a ton of it that's like not like there's not much green in sight, and when it is, it's like okay, a place where like a bunch of the 1% would be, and then like off in the distance, it looks like that could either be green. Yeah, that looks like there's a little bit green in the distance, but like
uh,
it looks barren, and I love
if you
that.
look, kind of around where your mouse was sitting just a second ago, it
Yeah,
looks like there's another structure in the background.
yeah. It looks small.
A road heading to it. You
Yeah,
can see it curves down, tucks in. I like it. It's cool.
yeah. Um, the art is done really, really well in this. I zoomed out a bit too far. um, as I said, like the art for this is like done amazingly well, and whoever 3 plus like press like just like commed for this, I believe is the right term, is like some high tier shit. Like, ooh,
Whoever their art director is, they did a good job. They
yeah.
did a very good job.
Monsters from the void. A common occurrence within places of high magic, such as prismatic falls, is void rifts, which bring terrifying monsters born of fear into the street. Oh, okay. So they keep kind of a random encounter element to it. So you could still be going from place to place and have a void open up, a void rift open up. Alright. The power of thought. It is known that the plane where the gods reside is molded, if not created, by the beliefs and thoughts of those of this plane. This gives the cults a bargaining chip against the gods, though their ability to control them by manipulating popular belief. However, just as the beliefs of people manifest in that plane, so do their fears. The place where they manifest is called the Void. Void rifts. The overuse of magic has begun tearing at the space between realities, the space between here and the void. This tearing sporadically creates void rifts where the magic is most used, leading to terrifying creatures entering this reality and roaming the streets. Okay, what are your opinions on that?
I love that
I do too.
because that means that the monsters in this game are some fucking eldritch horror nightmare creatures.
Yeah, that
We
was
ain't
my...
getting flumps. We ain't talking flumps here. We're talking three-faced babies with claws coming out of their eyeballs and like hands on their feet and feet on their teeth.
Yeah, this is some weird, horrifying, like...
I'm going to be creating some absolute fucking nightmares
Yep.
crawling out of cracks in the ground.
I
I'm
can...
going to love it.
I love also, like, the void itself, like, its flavor, because, like, it could be also, like, the place of dreams, but it's also the place of fucking
Yeah.
nightmares. It's, like,
The
such a
fact that
duality.
the religion shapes the planes that the gods live in,
Mm,
that's cool. I do like that, and I've kind of already implemented stuff like that in my world. But that's more the amount of people that worship and the strength of that following
yeah.
expands the realm instead of shapes it actively.
Like, Percy Jackson, like, let's throw back here, back to 2002, whenever that came out. Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, that book series, like, if you have read it at all, I don't know if you have, but I know that some people may have. In that series, they talk about,
I didn't realize it was a book.
there was a book. Well before the movie, the books were so much better.
Well, I haven't seen the movies either.
Oh, okay. Anyway, point is, they had the whole, like, it sort of brought along the popular belief of this, actually. It helped propel it. Um, Basically, the idea was that, like, the less that you worship a god, the more it will fade to obscurity until, like, it doesn't die, but, like, it fades away from existence, sort of thing. Like, because obviously gods are immortal, they just fade away instead. And that was, like, one of the things of, like, the less you believe in said god, the more kind of loses in power and the less it becomes impactful in the world.
Mm.
So, like, I like the idea though, like, there's a duality to it where, yeah, they can have, like, this whole, like, they can make people believe and, like, make them all powerful. But if you just get, like, a mass amount of people to just forget, not saying that you will, but you just make them forget that God could die. And I love that. Like, their plane could no longer exist, and they become like a shell of the thing they once were. I love that.
Yeah, no, that is a cool concept. Also, the idea of like well-known cult leaders basically threatening gods. I mean, like, do as I say, or I will, you know, ruin your whole deal by making these people believe that that's just how it is.
Mm.
I'll turn your swords into fucking butterflies if you don't give me power. Give me power. Come on,
They become
cunt.
gods themselves, and I kind of like that.
It
Like,
gives me some good ideas for just plot lines, honestly.
mm, yeah. Alright, so religion, religions and the use of the void is interesting, I will say.
Mm.
And I will say, like, a well thought out yet again.
For sure. It'd be interesting playing like a cleric or
It would. It would create this. A clerical warlock or paladin would just be like a very interesting sort of thing because I feel like warlock would be like kind of you playing off
well,
what like your god
you're
actually
invested member
wants.
of a cult.
Yeah, like I feel like you could have like a minstrel, like say you're like a warlock of the minstrel. You might not actually be doing what the cult wants because you're talking directly to the minstrel, but
Yes.
cleric of the minstrel and a paladin of the minstrel very much could be a sort of like
Paladin in particular would be interesting because they're not technically bound to a god always.
Mm,
Um, they're typically bound by an oath.
yeah,
If that oath is to a cult, that doesn't necessarily mean that their oath is to the god that cult's about.
yeah.
So I can see some really cool like paladin bosses and clerical bosses even, um, just wrecking your shit, and you know, a powerful paladin is a concern. It can be a concern.
Pretty much. Okay, so now that we have locations, whether roaming the streets or the wilderness, every location Crystalpunk is packed with extreme danger. Here's a brief overview of the main areas. So there's four main areas. Prismatic Falls, main location of Crystalpunk. It's a lawless megacity of never-ending rain run by cults where floating buildings reach far beyond the clouds and streets and filled with both violence and opportunity. A little bit of a spelling issue, I think.
Where?
Where floating buildings reach far beyond the clouds and streets are filled with both violence and opportunity. It didn't have a comma. Like, grammar-wise, it could have.
Well, it has the word and.
Yeah, but
There's no commas.
streets beyond the cloud and streets are filled with both. Because like
No,
it sounds.
the grammar works out there, bud.
Yeah, okay, maybe it's just me. I beef out my stuff too much sometimes. Interesting though that it's never-ending rain. I don't know how I would feel about that. I I understand that's a common thing with like Blade Runner, um, but I'm not a huge fan of never-ending rain. As someone who lives in an area that like rains a shit ton in the winter and it's 90% like water-based, you know, not exactly the best. But
I mean, it wouldn't be comfortable, but
mm,
it definitely leads to a specific atmosphere that you would have.
yeah, definitely. Shattered Empire. The Shattered Empire is an arcane kingdom plagued by civil war and internal squabbles that obstruct the restoration of its former glory. Now, is Prismatic Falls within the Shattered Empire? Or is the
I
Shattered
would
Empire?
think not. My
Mm,
guess is these are all different places, like
yeah.
spread out.
Scorching Frontier. The Scorching Frontier is a demon-infested desert at the forefront of demon hunting efforts, where cowboys, duel, and outlaws roam. That's interesting. I like that. There's a sort of like, if you want to go for like a Midwestern sort of feel, but like, what was that movie? The one with Will Smith, the one that got critically panned. It was like that sci-fi Western movie.
I
The old,
Robot.
no, I think it was called The
I'm
Wild
like,
West. No,
uh,
um, The Wild Wild West or something.
After Earth.
No, fuck's sake.
Pretty Will Smith movies,
Another
can I
one would be
remember?
good. Cowboys and Aliens. You know, mix.
Oh, Suicide Squad.
Fuck off. But my point is, though, I like a good mix of sci-fi and cowboys sometimes. You
Yeah,
know.
the option for non-city setting is quite nice.
Mm. The overgrowth is
Which this next one makes
yeah.
me quite happy.
The overgrowth is an impossibly massive jungle that holds the mysteries of an ancient civilization. It is also the ancestral homeland of all beast folk.
Yes.
I can imagine a sort of biopunk sort of thing. If people aren't aware of what biopunk is, it's basically tons of fucking grass and very sci-fi at the same time.
It's my thing.
It's also one of the better versions of sci-fi culture and whatnot.
So the ancient civilization,
Mm.
I would like in my setting, at the very least when I run this, I think I'll probably have it as like a futuristic society that crumbled and then they found the crystals. So like a bunch of non-crystal and arcane based tech
Yeah,
that has then since gone obsolete due to the introduction of magic.
I think
I have some ideas about some of these.
the Vrel, like your own people that
Yes.
you've made, would work well here. That's
They would. They, especially with all the void stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
You could
absolutely.
easily put in a few of your own sort of stuff there, and I have to say it's done.
Honestly, as far as just pure setting,
Yeah,
they've allowed it so you don't need to play the classes and races that are in this book.
yeah,
It does feel like other classes and races could slot in here quite, you know, quite nicely. It's not locked down to its own content, which I appreciate. I Yeah, just from setting alone, there's not a lot of classes or races I would be like hesitant to put in. Maybe some of the really like out there ones, but
yeah. Like I feel like
um,
having a Triton here would be a little bit
well, I mean,
mm,
there's bound to be water somewhere.
somewhere. Yeah, but like I feel like there would
You
be
want
less.
a Crystalpunk underwater society? That sounds dope to me.
That genuinely sounds kind of cool now.
Yeah,
Now that I'm thinking about it, but like
have an
there's a
underwater city floating around like
yeah,
with crystal turbines and shit, just floating under the ocean.
yeah. Soul Space, Soul
That'd be
Space. Soul Space is the ethereal plane. Okay, so they straight up just reworked the ethereal plane where
yeah, it
souls
does have.
reside in the world of Crystalpunk. It is a place where people live second lives through their souls and secret deals are made. Citizens access this plane through the new ethereal jaunts. Ah, Christ, pardon me. Ethereal jaunt spell and do so most often in prismatic falls where the ethereal plane is busiest.
Yeah.
I like that sort of reskin of the ethereal plane. I don't know about you.
Uh, I think it's it's so-so. I
Yeah.
I don't feel strongly one way or the other. What I do kind of like is that the setting has its own other planes. Not a lot of 5e supplements really hit on other realms unless they're based on them.
Yeah.
Though I wouldn't say that this is particularly based on them outside of some mechanical elements.
Yeah.
Um, like the monsters, where they come from. Yeah, there's also some other intrigue that I would have there. Sending the souls somewhere else to a specific plane instead of to whatever patron they follow, I do enjoy that as well. The fact
Mm.
that secret deals are made there, that's interesting to me.
Yeah. It
Because it doesn't mention about coming back to life, so my feeling is that, like, people would probably sell their souls, or would die, um, to then go there and, like, so what I'm imagining
yeah.
is a kingpin, a boss, whatever, has these people and goes, okay, you can do this for me, and I will pay your family all the bits that they could ever want. I'm going to kill you. You are going to willingly die, and then offer your soul to whatever being is beyond. Give me some power, and then your family gets to eat like kings for the rest of their life.
Well, there's also the whole
That
thing
is
of
immediately the jump that I would go to.
there's also I want to point out as well there's the whole soul battery, mana batteries where they
Yeah.
just shove your soul inside. So it's like you could have like instead of soul space like you
One of them would
pull
bring power, and one
mm,
of them would bring new powers.
yeah. Also I
So, do you want electricity, or do you want to soul bomb someone?
mm, so like I feel like a lot of stuff with souls now comes into question and resurrection now. I believe they have a rule about resurrection and like making people alive again. Um Also like dying, I believe as well, but we'll go into that once we reach the rules. But souls have
Uh,
now
just quickly, I want to let you know I do have a 2-hour cutoff time for this. I've
yeah.
just been informed. So
Alright.
as far as we get through for that, I'll hang around.
Yeah, no, that's all cool. Souls have now got a bit more importance now. And I like that, because no one really talks about the soul too much when it comes to D&D. Like, I feel like souls are always just like, eh. But, I'm a huge person who kind of likes the soul. That's me.
Ugh. Yeah,
Alright.
I'm keen to get into some RP stuff that does involve the soul. There's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of things that I add in when I run this.
Alright.
That will
So,
be interesting, I think.
now onto races. So, we have Battleborn with 3 different versions of them. Beastfolk with 2. Curseborn, Eternal, Niflheim, Nomad. 2 versions of Soul Fueled. I think that there might be one more on top of Soul Fueled. Don't remember. I think these two are lumped. There's 2 lumped together in the all other. Split
There's
Soul and Awoken.
labor, all those.
All right. And Unwoken. I don't know if I said that one. I know I said Split Soul. Battleborn. So instantly, I'm kind of reminded of the terrible game Battleborn. But let's hope that this is somewhat better.
Leave it alone. Alrighty.
They're known as the ultimate fighting machines, mutated and biologically altered, molded for the sole purpose of battle. At the height of the brutal civil war of the Shattered Empire, armies of Battleborn were created through advanced magical mutations and forced to fight against their will. Their forms were fit for purpose, each serving as the apex of their role. The brutes were unnaturally strong, the scouts abnormally fast, but it was these strengths that caused their creator's downfall. The revolt of the Battleborn was savage and arduous. Many sacrificed their life for the freedom of their people, and these sacrifices were not in vain. Today the Battleborn have left the Empire behind, living prosperity and normalcy within Prismatic Falls. However, there is still a continuing struggle within each Battleborn to suppress the savagery imbued into their blood. Okay.
Full flavor, but
But okay.
having a look at their abilities, and we'll go over them. The races in this are very, very strong.
Yeah.
Battleborn is one of the strongest.
Yeah.
I didn't go very far through all of the races, but looking at Battleborn, they are very strong.
Very. I will say. Ability score increase. You get a +1 to strength, dex, and con.
Yeah, so straight off just that alone, a +1, like that is effectively the standard +3 to your stat array that you would get, but it's a +1 to the 3 physical stats. This is a barbarian's dream.
Yeah.
Like,
but I will also say that it's a bit worse than normal human. I know some people use variant human and they force that upon
they
their
are a bit
players.
worse up until you start looking at
Yeah,
their
their
ability.
abilities. Yeah. So maybe flavoring it a bit better, changing it around. Battleborn, a bit OP. So
They are very strong.
game balancing for 5e. Battleborn, bit OP.
Yeah, I'll once we have a good read of all of their abilities, I'll go over my general balancing ideas and the one saving grace that they do have as far as being OP.
Alright. So their age were made to mature quickly, live in perfect health, and then rapidly degrade at the end of their lifespan. Holy fuck. Look, I know I said I read this beforehand, but not. Holy shit. That would be painful. Imagine reaching the age of 40 there, because they reach adulthood at age 5 and rarely live to be more than 40. But imagine being 40, you'd be so much in pain.
Well, you'd be dead. you would look like an old person.
Yeah.
You'd be 40 looking 170.
Pretty much. So,
The fact that you can play a 6-year-old and not be weird is interesting.
yeah. I'm 6 years old.
Uh,
You
I am
look like a
6 years
50.
old, fucker. Oh, okay.
You look like a 50-year-old. Never mind that. Size, you're medium. That makes sense, I suppose.
Standard 30 feet.
Yep. Base sort of stuff for size and speed. Martial prodigy. You are proficient in 3 martial weapons of your choice. I don't see anything wrong with that. Uh, armor.
Yeah, no, it's not that strong as far as like just general proficiencies. The
Yeah,
fact that you get to choose does go against the grain of 5e a little bit, but at the
yeah,
same time, it's not in a game-breaking way. It's just a little different.
yeah.
I think
Armor.
there's no other race that you get to choose your racial weapons.
Yeah.
But as
Armor
far as
special.
flavoring
Oh,
of
sorry, you
Battleborn,
go.
it's quite nice.
Yeah. Armor specialist. I I wanna like it in terms of RP and all that, but well, not RP, but like in terms of game function, like I like it as a player, but as a DM, I think it's a little bit weird because normally your class sort of restricts your.
No, there are plenty of races that give armor proficiencies.
Really? Oh no, but those are
Yeah.
ones that have natural ones, aren't they?
What?
Like natural armor.
No,
Where?
dwarves, I believe, get proficiency in heavy armor off the bat.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple more that I can't remember, but no, that's standard, especially just the flavor of the race.
Man, I might have to read
Get,
through my PHB
getting
again.
some weapons and armor proficiency is nothing huge.
Yeah.
The next one is interesting.
Wounded
Uh,
Fury. Yeah.
yeah, it reminds me of the Goliath.
Yeah, when you take damage, you can use your reaction to regain 1d10 hit points. You can also gain an additional benefit that depends on your Battleborn subrace as described below. Once you use this trait, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest.
Yeah.
Alright, so it kind of works in the sort of fighters surge, but it's only 1d10 as well.
Yeah, so the Goliath has an ability that when they get hit, they can reduce the
Reduce,
damage
yeah,
by.
1d10.
I actually think the Goliath is a D12. Um,
Did they
but yeah,
change that?
Stone's endurance. No, I think it's been like that since Volos.
Oh, okay.
Not Volos.
Yeah, it was Volus.
Yeah, Volos. But they also get to add that con to it.
Mm.
This you don't get to. It's a standard D10, which is one of the saving graces of the race. It would be a
Yeah.
strong ability, being able to survive a hit and heal a bit out of it. So you could potentially take a point of damage and heal 10.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a flat D10, meaning that there's always a chance that you roll a 1 and you go, well, fuck.
That didn't help much. Yeah.
You do get an additional ability. Some of them are pretty, not amazing.
Yeah.
One in particular of this is a little bit interesting.
Alright. So let's move on to the sub races of the Battleborn. Brute is the first one. Brutes were created as frontline soldiers. They were the tallest and strongest of Battleborn and have imposing and brawny forms. War Rush is an ability you get. As a bonus action, you can move up to your movement speed towards a hostile creature you can see or hear. You must end this move closer to the enemy than you started.
So yeah, there's an orcish ability, I believe, that is very similar to this, where you
Mm,
can use your bonus action to charge directly at a enemy creature, but you have to be moving towards an enemy creature. Uh,
yeah.
this is just that. That it's nothing fantastic. We're already getting into the over like The main thing about the Battleborns is that they have a lot of features.
Yeah, they're very
Most races will get typically an RP feature and a mechanical feature.
pretty much. I will say War Rush also is kind of entering game breaking. I will say it's a little bit. It's scraping at the surface because it says that you must end closer to the enemy than you started. So you could be like 50 feet away, but you could, so long as you you could move around the enemy,
You could.
but still be closer. So it's kind of creating a little bit of
I
like.
honestly, out of all of the abilities in Battleborn, the War Rush is the one I have the least issue with.
Yeah, I will say it's one that I don't really mind. It's just that it's starting to enter the game breaking. Like, it could be game breaking if used by someone who was a bit of a bastard, you know?
I can't see a situation where I would get annoyed or think that it's game breaking anyway. It's just a bit of extra movement.
Mm,
There's plenty of classes and races that can do it anyway.
yeah,
They're a standard
Monk
30
Brute.
feet until you get into one of the other sub races, in which case it wouldn't have that ability.
Yeah. Imagine a
Um,
Monk Brute, though, just like your movement speed. So when you, like, you could start dashing and all that around the fucking battlefield at, like, such a quicker speed.
I mean, you could, but it's still action economy. You're
Mm,
still, if your example a monk, you could do that, but then you're not able to use your bonus action for flurry of blows, patient defense,
yeah, there's a
various
few other.
other things. Like,
Mm,
and a monk can kind of already do this, though, at use of a
key point.
uh, key point.
Mm. Alright,
War Rush is a fine ability. I see no issue with it.
yeah. Brute
This next
Strength.
one I don't like.
Brute Strength. You can count as one
Yep.
size larger when determining your carry capacity and the weight you push, drag, or lift.
'Cause now we're getting into the over featuring a class.
Yeah.
People people will sleep on that ability.
I think it's understandable though, because Goliath got made official, and everyone's just like, eh. Like
Yeah,
it's
there's a couple things, but what people don't understand generally is this includes creatures that you like creatures that you can push and shove and stuff.
mm,
And the amount that this actually increases your carrying capacity by, you can do a lot with. It is a kind of RP heavy, you need to think about it kind of ability. Just as pure mechanics, people go, uh, cool, I don't need to worry about my carrying capacity as far as like my gear. Gonna
yeah.
move on. Like I know I personally spent a year campaign with a cow strapped to my back. Um, but there's a
Let's look
lot you
into
can
that
do.
one.
Goliath, totem of the beast.
Ah,
Um, yeah, there's a lot you can do mechanically that people typically don't think about until after it's done. Um, the ability itself is not that strong, but
yeah.
just they're giving the races a lot of features, which isn't necessarily a bad thing if they were more RP based.
Mm,
But a lot of these features are giving some pretty strong mechanical advantages, which personally my little 5e brain goes, oh, I see you've got a Goliath there with some extra stuff. Okay. Oh shit.
yeah.
Now, now I'm nervous because you know I'm curious to look at the other races fully and
Yep.
see if they also have the same like 5 to 6 different features of
Ability.
their
Yeah.
own.
Yeah.
Just because generally a 5e race will have 2 to 3 abilities.
Mm,
Usually one of them is heavily in the RP aspect, though will have some slight mechanical advantage, such as brute strength.
yep.
Then you'll have one that is like the prime racial mechanic.
Yeah.
So for dwarves, it's the RP one is their stone.
Endurance, whatever it is.
What's it called? I can't remember what it's called right now.
I have my
But
PHP
they
right
get
here. I just don't have
yeah,
Volos. Let me pull it
well,
up for you.
dwarves are PHP. I've also got it in front of me. They get stone cutting.
Stone cutting.
Yeah, they get
Yep.
to make they get to make a history check with extra junk.
Yep. When it's
Uh,
relating to like stone and
to, yeah,
stonework.
to RP.
Yeah.
They also will gain a active ability, which is one that will make them mechanically stronger. I'll stick with dwarves because we're here.
Mm.
Dwarven resilience, just the straight up advantage on saving throws against poison and resistance to poison damage. That would, in this case, would be similar to the Wounded Fury. It's an active ability that will be the prime ability of that race.
Yeah.
This one, it kind of gets a buff, which I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I like
Let's
RP
read it.
aspect. I like the idea that they get a bonus thing,
Yeah.
which, yeah, you'll read.
Yeah. Wounded Retribution, which is the Wounded Fury add-on. When you use your Wounded Fury, you can cause the creature that damaged you to take damage at the same type that you took, provided you can see them and they are within 10 feet of you. This damage equals your level. So, let me get this right. Magically, you just look at them, turn to them if they're like 5 feet away from you, like more like they're 10 feet away from you, providing that they're not using a halberd and they use like a ranged attack, and you don't have a halberd, and you don't have like you're very melee. How the fuck do you hurt them? I would love to
Uh,
know. Like, do you just shout at them? Do you just like scream and they're just like, oh fuck, ow?
so there's a couple ways that you could flavor it,
Mm.
especially with the biologically molded and like the crystalline elements of the game and like the arcane batteries and stuff of the game.
Yeah,
Uh, my first instincts would be it could be an arcane rebuke in the
yeah,
sense of you get
hellish
hit
rebuke.
and then some crystallines in you flare up, return some of the damage. You
Mm-hmm.
could literally get hit, use this ability, heal up, and as part of that, throw the weapon back at them, basically.
Yeah,
Like, push it back, have it cut into them a little bit. Alternatively, you could have some mechanism in your body that when you use this ability, shoots off and hits them instead, uh,
yeah,
returning some of that residual damage. Maybe a shield or something that, a breastplate or whatever, impacted by it, absorbs some of that damage and shoots it back at them.
yeah,
Um, but there's some options. There's a few things you can think of. I do like the idea that someone comes at you with a halberd. It it lodges into your shoulder. You just grab it, throw it at them.
yeah.
Like,
Uh,
fuck off.
just
Get out of
also
me.
damage equals your level. How do you feel about that? Because
That's fine.
yeah, I feel like that's fine because you just do one hit point at level one, two obviously two.
It'll range from 1 to 20.
Yeah, I think that's kind of fine for it. I
Not a
think
huge amount of damage, though. It's damage of the same type that you took. Uh, yeah, it's not huge.
mm,
It is still an add-on to an ability that already exists, and it's not amazingly powerful.
also like there's isn't there like I can't remember what enemy it is, but they deal the same damage that um they also get healed from. So using it is kind of like a bit of a catch 20.
Mm, There are some like undead and stuff. They're not so much in 5e.
Yeah,
Uh, that was more of a, what was it, 3.5
5.
fourth edition thing.
Ah, yeah.
That will heal from like necrotic damage and stuff. Yeah, there's a couple creatures that do it, though. Really, not many.
All right. So let's move on to Scout. Oh, here's a Battle World Ranger. My first instinct when I first saw this, Tiefling. Don't know about you.
Yeah,
But
they do look very tiefling. Though I think that, yeah,
I think it, like, Battleborn has the sort of flavor ability where it's like, because it just says that, like, you were made, you could be made a Tiefling, you could be made a sort of
yeah, you could realistically be any other prime
prime,
race
yeah, like you could be,
modified into a ranger, battleborn.
yeah, you could look like a Dragonborn yet have the Battleborn stats and all that.
Yeah,
It,
they remind me of the Simic hybrids quite a lot.
yeah, alright, so, uh, also this is the Infernal Rider archetype of a Ranger, I might say, so we'll be getting into them a bit later. Um,
The scouts are the ones I have issue with.
yeah?
Yep.
So your base walking speed increases to 35. Okay, Wood Elf, don't care. Dark Vision, again,
That's
not
the
too bad.
ability. No, that's the ability that breaks it for me.
Really?
Yes. So
Alright.
going back to the original base of the class,
Yep.
they get a +1 to 3 different stats that, you know,
Mm.
you roll well enough, you can effectively have 3 19s.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. The chances of
Which
that are like
to a
5%.
lot of people that doesn't sound too concerning. The +1 to 3 stats. There is only one race in D&D that has that,
Mm.
and that is a Triton, which already they have. Tritons will get they for starters do not have it in the 3 physical stats. They have it in, I believe, 1 prime stat and 2 less used stats.
Yeah, I think it was
Charisma,
like,
and intelligence, I think.
yeah,
Um,
makes sense.
and a swim speed, but they do not have dark vision.
Yeah.
Dark vision is actually a huge boon in D&D. People do not use it properly, and therefore typically do not understand how strong dark vision actually is. I'm honestly fine with the Battleborn. Like they're definitely on the stronger end for 5e standards, but not game breakingly so, because they don't have dark vision. Because the second it gets dark, all of their fighting prowess and their combat skills and their movability and everything they need to get it out of dodge if need be, or get into dodge, it's going to be difficult in the dark. They're going to have disadvantage on stuff. They're going to not see things coming. It's going to be a tough time. But now you've given them an additional movement speed and dark vision. I don't know how I feel about that.
I think it's semi-fine. Like, because let's just
Honestly,
move to their
yeah,
Wounded Fury for a sec. You can move up to half your speed without provoking opportunity, or, like,
yeah.
yeah,
The
that's what makes it broken. That,
scout with everything they have, and then adding dark vision on top of that,
yeah.
I do not like.
I would say get rid of Wounded Escape, or just, like, get rid of Dark Vision. One of the two. That's for me. I don't mind Scout Swiftness, because that makes it kind of...
Don't worry, I gotcha.
Hmm?
Um,
But, yeah, I feel like get rid of Dark Vision, or get rid of Wounded Escape.
Wounded Escape is fine.
Yeah.
It's an okay ability. There's not many that get that as a reaction. In fact, there's no
No
race
one.
that gets
Yeah.
like that as a reaction. Um, I would personally change the dark vision to keen sense.
To what?
I would change the dark vision and give them keen sense.
Oh, the Perception Elf ability. Yeah, okay.
Keen sense is different.
Yeah?
Keen sense is advantage on perception checks.
Ah, okay.
Made to find, or yeah, but it's mechanically it is quite strong, and it would help them with their lack of dark vision, but it is not as strong as dark vision, and also has a bit more flavor involved. Like, let's go back to the other one for a second.
Brute or
Actually, no, read Defender, and then we'll get back to what I want to point out on Scout.
alright. Okay, so Defenders were created to serve as undying protectors. Their heavy hulking forms allow them to continue fighting even in the midst of extended battle. Is that what you wanted me to read? What exactly did you want?
Go, just finish Defender, and then I
Yeah.
will compare the three.
Defender's toughness, your hit point maximum increases by 1 and increases by 1 every time you gain a level. I think that's fine. Don't know about you. You basically get
No,
the
the
tough.
Defender is my favorite of the three.
Yeah. Resistant body, you have advantage on saving throws against disease. That is such a minimal thing. Like,
Yep.
no DM that I know of, like, I've been under many DMs, not many deal with disease. Like, it is, like, such a minor thing, I think, these days. Like, in terms of 5e, if I remember correctly,
Often don't consider it,
mm,
and if you just core rules alone,
mm,
there is no real disease that can't just be greater restoed away.
yeah,
Or you got a paladin on your team or a monk or whatever, then they're going to be immune to it anyway.
yeah.
Yeah,
If I'm,
resistance to disease or advantage on whatever against disease, that's no huge issue.
I think that in 3.5, I can't remember what issue it was, diseases were much scarier. Like, there used to be, like, something that was like, oh fuck, I have a disease. Let me just freak out for the next 5 in-game sessions because I can't get rid of it quite so easily. This, like, with diseases now in 5e, I know that they're, like, pretty easy to just, yeah, as you said, greater resto away, nothing matters too much. Oh well. Um, Wounded regen. When you use your Wounded Fury, you can add your Constitution modifier to the number of hit points you regain. I think that's
So
fine. You basically get.
yeah,
Sorry.
Defender is a small boost and
Mm,
is it kind of acts on a dwarf instead of like the wood elf or the Goliath that the other two are based on.
yeah. So, what did you want to have a look at
Okay,
over 3?
so look at the second ability for all three of them.
Count as one
You've got
size.
you've got brute strength,
Yep.
which counters one size larger. You get a little bit of mechanical buff, but mainly that is an RP ability.
Yep.
That is something that it'll only affect you a little bit during combat and mostly outside of combat.
Yep.
Uh, the the defender advantage against disease. That's gonna come up the least in the game ever.
Yeah.
It is realistically disease is an RP thing. Like it will have some mechanical issue against you. There's but it's not going to affect you mid combat. That ability will not have bearing on combat.
Yeah. Unless
Dark
someone
vision,
casts a contagion.
unless someone casts contagion. Dark vision.
Yeah.
Dark vision is going to affect you both in and out of combat because for the most part it has in combat mechanics.
Mm.
That is you negating the need for light. That is you ignoring disadvantage because you can't see. That is you being able to see creatures hiding outside of the light source. It it is a very strong mechanic for the template that they have for them.
Mm.
They have it set where it's a passive racial, a RP ability, and a boon to the to an already existing feature.
Yeah.
I would be 100% down for this race if Scout
If.
didn't have dark vision.
Yeah. What would you change? So you changed
I,
the
I would
advantage
just
to
I would
precision.
just put keen sense there.
Yeah. Keen
Yeah,
sense. That's it.
give them advantage to perception checks. Maybe change it up with advantage on perception and survival to track a creature, or something along those lines. Like give it an out of combat ability instead of blatant dark vision because it's just, it's not game-breakingly strong, and I wouldn't ever say no to it. I just,
You think it's kind of like entering a
it
sort
is,
of
it is reached the point of they have a lot of abilities, and 5e wise, it's a strong race. I can't really judge the in-game thing yet, like
yeah.
Crystalpunk balancing. But
Also, none of
Dark
them.
Vision is fucking strong.
Also, I don't believe any of the monsters have been put into this in terms of the playtest, so we can't just compare like a level 1 person against a monster here.
I wouldn't even balance a
Yeah,
person compared to a monster. That's a whole different ballpark.
yeah. Um, I can see where you're going though. It makes a bit of sense. Like Dark Vision on top of like moving
It's
a
their
bit
own algorithm.
quickly, and then your speed, and then everything else. It's just a little bit too much. It's just like it was walking the fine line without the Dark Vision, but then like it kind of tips over with Dark Vision. Um, let's move on to Beast Folk. Curious Wanderers of the Wild, the Beast Folk, a race of animal-human hybrids consisting of almost every animal variety. Each category of species forms their own lineage, from cat folk to elephant folk, yet all have the same ancestral homeland of the overgrowth. While many tribes of beast folk continue to call these dense jungles their home, others have migrated to more urban environments. The origins of the beast folk are believed to be tied to the creation of the overgrowth. While little is known about the mysterious magic that now causes plants to grow in enormous size, it is theorized it was this magical spark that caused the mundane animals within the overgrowth to transform into the beast folk of today. This theory is supported by the mystical power that each beast folk garners from their bloodline, a powerful battle cry that releases latent magic from their body. When a, when a beast folk activates this power, runic marks briefly pulse over their skin. None have been able to decipher the meaning of these markings. Okay,
I
so
like them.
yeah. Also,
My little dryad heart. I like them.
also latent furry sort of stuff. You know.
Eh,
All right, let's move on
I
to
ain't gonna run around in a fursuit, but you give me ears and a tail, and I'll be happy.
anime weeb. Um,
I'm a weeb. I'm really not. Um,
beast folk traits. So
have a look.
wisdom score increases by 1. Okay, automatically off the bat, that's kind of weak. Like, just kind of
Uh,
like
the other class, it is fine because I've had a look at the sub races for this.
yeah.
It picks up.
Yeah, from what I know, it picks up, but like already, if we're going off the bat, kind of weak.
Well, wisdom is a strong stat. It
Oh
is
yeah,
one of the
definitely.
three prime stats. Dex, Con, and Wisdom are the three prime stats, or strong stats.
Mm,
And then Strength, Intelligence, and Charisma are the weak stats.
yeah,
Typically, a race will give you
one.
one of
Mm,
each.
yeah,
Some of them will give you, two different ones. It doesn't usually matter too much. But for a saving throw, it will always be a strong and a weak stat.
yeah.
A
Um,
plus one to wisdom, that is big. It not as big as people will. It is bigger than people would think originally looking at it.
all right. Age: beastfolk often reach maturity around age 15 and rarely live longer than 50 to 60 years.
Yeah, short
So a
lifespan,
little
better
reach,
than the other.
yeah, you reach maturity around like a couple years younger than a human, but you
Yeah.
live to the same age.
Oh well, human average lifespan is 80 years.
Isn't that in D&D? Is it 80?
I believe so. Look,
Because I know that like IRL,
uh,
yeah, 80 works, but human,
I don't actually think they specify in. Let's see.
in their late teens and live less than a
Less than a
century.
century. So
That so fucking vague.
Well, it's
Yeah.
they have a lifespan of 1 to 100 years,
Yeah. Um.
which is almost double what the beast folk get. Though
Yeah.
age is something that rarely comes up. That's an RP factor.
Yeah. Size, your medium or small, your choice upon creating a beast folk character. Okay.
I like that. I like the fact that you get to choose between your size category. I
Mm.
think that's fun.
Speed 30 feet. Alright, so here's bestial talent. So, sort of a thing dedicated to them. You gain one of the following options of your choice: dark vision with a range of 60 feet, or a natural weapon on an appropriate part of your body, which you can use to make unarmed strikes. It deals damage equal to 1d6 your strength modifier, and the damage type is bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing as appropriate. I like that.
The
I think that's
dark
fine.
vision or a weapon attack, I like it.
Yeah.
I do enjoy races that give you a choice of some things like that outside of just your like sub race.
Mm,
I mentioned it before, but the Simic hybrid, which I'm getting a lot of feels from the last and this race as well. They have things like that where at first and either third or fifth level, you get to pick a feature
yeah.
out of like 3 or 4. This feels very similar. And, I've mentioned before, Dark Vision is strong, though this race doesn't gain a lot. Some
Yeah.
some of them do, but Dark Vision, solid choice, or a natural weapon, also a solid choice.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, either or.
Okay, so Primal Battle Cry. As a bonus action, you
Oh,
unleash a mystical howl, roar, or powerful cry which invigorates up to 4 allies of your choice. So there's nothing that really adds on to it, it's just a direct 4. So,
so what is it?
nice. Hmm?
As a bonus action,
Unleash your mystical. Um, see, within 30 feet of you, which includes yourself. Can include yourself, so it's 4 people, no matter what, but
yeah.
yeah. The next
So
time
if
these
you have a party of 5 or 6, you might need to pick and choose who you got.
Yeah. The next time they move, they can move up to 10 feet further. Also, the next time they deal damage with an attack or spell, it does extra damage equal to your level. Once you use this trait, can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Okay. I. Hmm. I think that's okay, personally.
Uh, yeah, so they get an extra 10 feet, and
Deal damage equal to your level.
um, it's very strong.
It's strong. I won't lie, it is strong.
A once per long rest feature, it's got what, a 30-foot radius?
Yeah.
It's strong.
Yeah. It's strong.
Uh,
But do you think
a, s-
it's.
a f- a flat, well, there's no ability that does that,
Mm,
and so Void, someone that I've played a lot of games with, you're going to be playing with soon enough,
yeah.
has made a class called a Battle Master,
Yeah.
and one of the abilities that they can do is they can do a shout that gives you get to add their charisma modifier. Um, yeah, they do a war cry, and everyone around them can add their wisdom modifier to attack and damage rolls.
Yeah.
The extra damage that I alone have done with that is insane. And that is like, he only has a +3. Like, his character only has a +3 to wisdom,
Yeah.
to charisma, whatever. And just that, like, this is a little less consistent with that because it's the next time they deal damage with an attack or spell,
Yeah.
which doesn't even, which means you could completely whiff one turn and still have that saved up for the next turn.
No, oh, that's true. That actually is worded
I,
so if you
I,
whiff.
yeah, I would stop it so that it is next time they deal damage on their next turn or until the start of your next turn or end of your next turn, whatever.
Yep.
It can include yourself, so I'd say until the end of your next turn, they would get that bonus. Yeah, it's a lot for something that can effectively be banked. And yeah, you hit 4 martial classes with that. Like you hit a rogue with that, you hit a barbarian, whatever, you hit a
Fighter.
strong caster and a
Yeah.
fighter, or
You could make
whatever you are.
mincemeat of whatever boss.
Suddenly, level 20, everyone has a static plus 20 to their next damage.
On top of everything else that they have, which is usually at level 20, like a legendary, like,
This ability needs some wording,
mm,
like change, because one, yeah, being able to bank that shit, that's a lot.
yeah.
And stacking it with other like static bonuses are always scary in 5e.
Also, the fact that it doesn't last, like, it's not like the damage doesn't go away as well. So you could effectively say that, say that there was no fighting, right, for the whole session, and you do another long rest.
Then yeah,
Yeah,
you could
you could
effectively have
effectively,
it again.
yeah, and then
You could sit there and just keep primal battle crying till everyone in your party has a hefty hit just ready.
yeah,
I also want to point out the fact that it says with a spell the next time they damage with an attack or spell,
yeah,
you drop a fireball.
that would be so devastating.
You drop a fireball, you drop, any big AoE, lightning bolt, core lightning, whatever
Lightning,
the shit.
Thunderwave, like something like Blight. Holy shit,
Anything big.
Blight.
Light, cone of cold, something huge that can. I'm specifically thinking ones that can hit a lot of people.
Yeah,
You suddenly have your like um
it would.
your efficiency of that static bonus, because it's not one instance of the damage. It's just the next time you deal damage.
Mm,
Meaning that, oh cool, thank you level 10 beast folk, you've just given me a static plus 10 to my next damage roll. Oh, look at that, a pile of enemies in a room together. Fireball.
yeah, that would
Let me deal 6d6 plus 10.
also kind of make it so that you would automatically have above average of,
Yep.
well, no, not above average, but below minimum, sort of thing. I don't think that there's any that just get you to roll 10 of a dice, for at lower levels. So at
Roll
level
10 of
10, yeah, at level 10, I think that there's no like ability that makes you roll a 10 dice for
No, there's
something.
not.
So having an automatic 10 makes it above a minimum that you can roll is kind of insane.
Yeah, no,
In
static bonuses in D&D are usually not a thing
mm,
unless there's some drawback to them.
yeah,
Because the fact that you can stack static bonuses.
mm,
So
um,
let me just min-max this race for a second.
yeah,
You're sitting there playing what was it, a beast folk, uh, whoever the fuck cares. We'll say a bard.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll go bard actually, because I have a good thought here. You're sitting there playing a beast folk bard with your cleric friend, your sorcerer friend, and your barbarian in the front.
yeah,
You do this ability. You're a level 10, everyone gets their thing. You're a bard, so cool. Bonus action. That was your bonus action. You can then make your own attack.
yeah,
You can then cast whatever spell, you can then make whatever attack roll. Ow, I just hit my hand. You deal that damage. You
yeah,
deal the extra damage, you can move an additional 10 feet, whatever the shit. Cool. you've just done something pretty heavily devastating. Your cleric buddy goes, they go, cool, fire strike. I actually don't know if level 10 can have fire strike yet.
Inflict wounds at whatever max level.
Inflict wounds, aura of like spiritual guardians.
Yeah.
Clerical spells are crazy. Fuck it. Spiritual weapon.
Yeah.
A spell that you can upcast to do. At that point, I think you can hit 3d8. No, 48. 2d8. 2d8 at that level, because yeah. So you can do 2d8 plus your wisdom plus 10. Bonus action. You just slam someone, cantrip, kill someone.
I think it would be automatic. It would only work for the first.
It only works for the first damage.
Yeah.
But
But making it do
think
spiritual
about it.
weapon, it's like force, which
Yeah.
force cuts through like I believe 90% of resistances. Like no one's really resistant to force damage, and when you are, it's like
One creature is resistant to force damage. There is only one by the book creature resistant to force damage.
which one's that? I've forgotten.
Some level 20, like CR20 monster. The race that you're playing in my campaign
Mm.
is very special because they have force resistance.
Yeah.
That's not a normal thing. There is nothing that gives you force resistance outside of magic weapons or magic items.
Yeah.
That is how you. There is no other way to get it outside of a spell or a magic item. It's just not a thing. So you do spiritual weapon, you're going to deal full damage because nothing is resistant. You get to add your wisdom modifier as a cleric casting spiritual weapon. You already get to add your wisdom. Say you have a +5/4 minimum at that stage. And then this +10 battle cry damage.
Yeah.
You're a monster for that round. And then you get to add your a cantrip,
You could
which
have a
as a
minimum.
cleric at level 10, you have Divine Strike.
Mm.
Or you can hit them with a weapon, whatever the shit. You're adding extra damage on top of that as well. That round,
Bonus
you're a fucking monster.
bonus action with a spiritual weapon minimum would be 17 at level 10. Like if we're doing if we're doing a +5, +4 would be 16 with
Yeah.
spiritual weapon. So it's like
To
16.
ridiculousness.
Yeah. And then on top of like whatever you want to use, like whether it be like Divine Strike, Sacred Flame, like
Well, Divine Strike is you get to roll an additional D8 onto a. Either you get to roll a D8 damage die on a weapon attack, or add your wisdom to a cantrip.
mm,
Meaning that you smack someone hard, cool. Toll of the Dead. Get fucked.
yeah.
D12 +5 again.
Mm.
Die. You're dead now. And then that's just the cleric's turn. Then you go round back to your wizard buddy, and they go, "Oh, look at this room full of people. I'm a 5th level
Fireball.
fireball."
Mm.
Boom. But the 7 enemies in that space are all now taking minimum 6d6 +10. Say you have elemental adept at that point. No resistances are going to work. Any ones you roll are a 2. You're an evocation wizard. Awesome. Extra damage on top.
Yeah.
Like,
Minimum I think would turn out to be 30. Like doing the math in my head, it sounds like it would be 30.
it would be fucked.
Mm.
This ability is broken.
Yeah.
Any effect that adds stuff like this, and the reason I've done the AoE spell specifically, is usually you only add it to one instance of the damage.
Yeah.
And it's the same way with a Asimar's Radiant Soul abilities. They only add their extra damage to one instance of it. And I get that this is a once per long rest, and therefore might not be that bad.
Mm,
But just the fact that it adds, it's yeah. There needs to be a cap off of it. There needs to be something limiting,
yeah,
or it needs to not be a bonus action anymore.
yeah. Also, like as a group that RP is a ton. Like we get into combat, yeah, of course, but like for more roleplay heavy games, having that as a bonus action, then having that like because there's always one fucker in a group, I will say, that will just bonus action that and then just wait till next long rest, bonus action that, and just keep doing that because there's no limit. There's legit nothing that's saying that it can't stack. So you could have like whatever
There is
level
a rule
10
saying it
person,
can't stack, actually.
huh?
There is a rule saying that it can't stack.
Really? Where? It doesn't.
Uh, in the base 5e rules, you cannot be affected by the same ability more than once.
Ah, okay. I didn't know
Like
that that was.
that's why you can't double stack spells on top of someone. You can't double stack
Hmm.
curses, whatever, onto the same person.
All right.
No ability of the same name can affect the same person. So there is a limiter there.
Hmm.
But yeah, there needs to be a limit as for like for the next round, for the next whatever.
Yep.
If you're not going to add a limiter like that, or at least like something. Also, as far as spells,
I think it should just be in a melee attack. Personally,
uh, I
get
would say with a spell is fine,
hmm,
but with the caveat that it has to be a uh,
direct
um,
spell, like something like a
I would change it to the next time they deal damage with an attack or spell that requires an attack roll,
ah, and then if
which
um,
would change that ability very considerably in a balanced way, because it
would you
means
make
that
it whiffable?
Fireball no longer going to work.
Would you make it
Uh,
whiffable? That's what I
well,
would.
I already think it should be up until the end of your next turn.
Yeah. So
Solidly believe until the end of your next turn, this buff is out there.
yeah.
Because a static bonus like this is huge. The extra 10 feet, whatever, that's kind of whatever. It,
Mm,
it can help with positioning a bit, but just that static bonus of your level to everyone, effectively. Like, you've got a party of 5, one person's missing out, probably, honestly, yourself, depending
yeah.
on what class you're playing.
You would most likely
Um,
be playing a support class if you're playing this, from the looks of it.
maybe. Who
I can
knows?
see some of you like I can see some which would make you not like in terms of the subclasses, or the sub races, I mean, which I want to get into because we've put quite a time into this one. But
I it's just that ability. There's a lot that I would need to
redo and
tinker with
unpack, yeah,
before I allow it,
yeah.
because that is a broken ability.
Let's move on to languages. Languages you can write common and one other language of your choice. I don't mind that. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's
that's
RP.
whatever.
I
It's
wish though,
one
however,
language is not strong.
that there was a language created for them, like their own
I
bespoke
mean,
language.
very diverse
Hmm.
group of people. There's probably not going to be one consistent
The
language
language,
between
yeah,
a lot of them.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's fine.
yeah,
And also, it's a supplement. They
yeah,
got enough to work without needing to write their own languages.
yeah. Aquaborn. The Aquaborn consists of bespoke originating from fish, amphibians, and other water-breathing animals. Your Constitution score increases by 2. You can breathe air and water. You gain a swimming speed of 30 feet. As a bonus action, you can take the disengage, dodge, or dash action. Once you use this trait, you can't use it again until you complete a short or long rest.
Uh, that's fun,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
Yeah, that ability is totally fun. Um, that is, it's a solid ability being able to bonus action, basically cunning action.
Mm,
Like that is straight up the rogue's ability.
yeah.
I would say it would be broken, like blatantly game breaking, if it was not once a short or long rest.
Mm,
That is a limiter that it needs, and
Yep.
it's a limiter that makes it playable.
Yeah.
A totally fine subrace for me. I have no issue with it. And yeah, as far as timing, we have another hour before I need to go, so
Yeah. Let's
we're good.
get a move on. Scaleborn. Scaleborn are beastfolk born originating from reptiles. Some beastfolk of this subrace herald from dinosaurs, which are thought to have been reborn when the overgrowth came into existence. Oh, okay.
Okay, I guess making sure that you can still use your dinosaur stat blocks and stuff, that's fair.
Yeah, I like that though. Because I know that some people are always just like, oh man, if I'm going to be doing D&D, but like I want to have dinosaurs, make it like a Jurassic Park sort of thing. Whatever. I don't know what you want. But I've heard complaints though of just like I'm gonna have to change it back to the Cambrian era where everyone has fucking stick and rock, oog boog sort of moments, you know. But like,
Some people are wrong.
yeah, some people are
Some
wrong.
people are wrong.
Yeah, but having this for the people that are wrong, you know,
Yeah, there you go. There's a
lore,
little bit of text as to why there are dinosaurs. Now you can shut your fucking house.
pretty much. Abilities,
Let's have a look at the mechanics. So.
yeah, ability score increase. Your strength score increases by 2. Eh. Natural armor. When you aren't wearing armor, your AC is 13 plus your Dex mod. You can wield a shield and still gain this benefit. I think that's fine.
You're lizard folk. Who cares?
Yeah. Durable, your hit point maximum increases by 1, increases by 1 every time you gain a level. Again, don't think it's too bad. Strong.
But, whatever.
Yep. Skyborn. Skyborn are beastfolk originating from birds and flying insects. Ability score increase, your dex increases by 2. Eh. Limited flight. You gain a flying speed of 30 feet. To use this speed, though, you can't be wearing medium or heavy armor. Also, you must land at the end of your turn or you fall.
Oh,
I
awesome.
like that. That make. Oh, let me just talk this through. So, I have a friend who runs a flying tiefling. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, for a lot of DMs, having a flying PC can be a pain in the fucking ass. It, like, automatically means that you're going to have, like, a ton of archers or, like, just spellcasters that can take them down, and then there's the whole issue with like melee fighters going up against ranged characters while this character rains in from above. Now, like for a lot of base DMs, it can be a pain in the ass. I know that there's a few DMs that can work around it and actually have ways to make it a bit easier for them, like having another flying character come in just to wail on them in melee while they try and get out of it, you know. But
Say,
have
as someone who has DM'd a lot, I personally have never had an issue with a PC with flight speed. Like, I've run for many an Aarakocra, you know, Asamars, they can't do it as often, but also, they can fly. Um, Wing Tieflings I've had. Flight has never been a big issue with me.
I know a ton
Because,
of
like,
new DMs that
Slinger does make you a bit of a target. They're hard to
mm,
hit for the stronger enemies. It is definitely an issue with newer DMs
mm,
who will not have accounted for it, though there is a couple things that need to be considered with a flying PC.
mm,
Uh, Flying is super strong when you have the space to fly.
yes,
You're an inside.
yeah.
The
Don't
the
make your
roof
ceiling
is
tall.
10 feet high.
Yeah,
Standard roof, 10 feet high, maybe 15. They're going to be out of reach you no matter what.
yeah. Don't make
You, you,
everything so big.
you can go, 15 feet up, cool. They might have to jump. They might have to stick and poke you. They might just throw shit at you.
Halberd hit you. I don't know.
Yeah, they might hit you with a halberd. They might just, okay, cool, you're up there now. We're just going to kill your buddies. Then we'll come and throw a net at you in a second.
Yeah,
Or second level spell, Earthbind. Cool, now you can no longer fly. Go fuck yourself.
yeah. There's a ton
Yeah,
of
I
stuff
like.
around it. Like,
Uh,
but
Newer DMs, it's
DMs,
terrifying.
yeah, newer DMs, it's
And
terrifying. So having a limited flight,
Adventurers League, which is the bane of my existence,
don't they
actually
ban?
has a rule. You
Ah,
cannot play a flying PC at all.
yeah, I thought so.
Like, you cannot pick a race that has a flight speed in tier 1, so levels 1 to 4. Which also means, unless you have a way to start at a higher tier through various means, you cannot play a flying race.
So having a limited flight
The
might,
limited flight is
go-
it's good. It's a good
yeah,
feature, and it melds well with the next feature.
yeah, glide. When you fall and aren't incapacitated, you can subtract up to 100 feet from the fall when calculating full damage, and you can move up to 2 feet horizontally for every 1 foot you descend. I I think Skyborn, uh, I think one of the weaker ones out of this, like,
I
but I think that like it
I have
is,
to disagree there.
yeah,
Because remember that Beast Folk gain an initial Wisdom +1,
mm.
which I've already mentioned is one of the strong stats.
And Dex +2,
Skyborn gain
yeah,
a Dex +2, which is another one of the strong stats, meaning that you play a Skyborn monk. Okay, your Dex and your Wisdom are already boosted just from that. Your initial monk movement would boost your flight speed because that's
mm.
how the monk movement works. It boosts any movement speed that you have at the time. So now suddenly you've got a 50-foot flight speed. You fly straight up.
Yeah.
Okay, then you fall at the end of your turn. You're not incapacitated via this fall. And when you're gliding and you fall, you can move 2 feet horizontally for every 1 foot you descend. Meaning that in a round, using only your movement, you can move 100 feet in a round.
Oh, really? I didn't think of it like that. Okay, yeah, that's kind of
Straight
strong
up,
then.
and then you fall.
Mm.
You do your ability, fly straight upwards, then you glide 100 feet. Because you fall like 500 feet in a round, uh, yeah, you could effectively use this to double your movement speed using nothing but your movement.
I like the idea though as well, like because this is Crystalpunk. Obviously, at one point you're probably going to be in a skyscraper or on top of the skyscraper, looking at another skyscraper to try and enter that skyscraper. I don't know.
Why not?
Like, yeah, let's just like hypothetical situations here. You jump off the roof. You could glide your way into the
Yeah.
other, like, into the other building, and I love that idea. Just like roleplay wise, I think that they've kind of outdone themselves here. Like with everything so far, everything seems really well thought out, and really like that's just me though.
Yeah, no, it's got some good intrigue for if you
Yeah. We should
think of it.
yeah. We should continue though. We've only on 9 pages 67. I think we might have to make a part two to this, and I'm fine with that.
Not going
Uh,
to get through everything, but
yeah.
we'll get through what we can.
Yeah. Furborn. The Furborn of beast folk originating from mammals. Ability score increase. Con +2. Uh, Agile, your base walking speed is 40 feet, and strong. Like, you count as one size larger. Uh, with carrying capacity, push, drag, and lift.
Um,
I'm fine.
this this sub race looks strong.
Mm,
The the straight up +1 to your health, like you're getting a +1 to your con modifier from playing this sub race.
yeah,
That's just happening no matter what. Same with the Aquaborn.
yeah.
Uh, +2 to con is always strong because it gives you a +1 to your health no matter what.
Yeah, which increases like other things like
Which,
concentration. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it is strong. A base speed of 40 feet? I don't know off the top of my head if there are any races that give you that.
Not 40 feet. Not 40 feet. Everything's 35. Never do,
Yeah, I
never
think the
gives you.
highest is 35.
I know that there's
Um,
a few races that have a base of like flying 60, which is Aarakocra. If I remember correctly. It was like flying 40 or 60, I can't remember. Um, but they like 40 feet off the top of my head, I think that nothing has, as a walking speed, nothing is that quick.
no, the fastest walking speed in 5e is 35 feet.
Yep.
So this is much faster than that.
Yeah.
Um, but honestly, other than that, this sub race is, yeah, it doesn't have a lot of flavor to it.
Mm,
It's got the strong ability, but that's not bringing a lot mechanically. That is definitely one of the RP abilities, which
yeah.
this race is kind of lacking, but at the
Yeah.
same time does have. Um,
Out of all of them, if you're gonna,
they've done.
if you want a constitution increase, like this, like from a min max perspective, just go Aquaborn.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, but from
Unless
like
you're
a
going something that you are wanting high movement for, like
mm,
if you were playing like a monk, if you were playing,
doing that, like
uh,
uh,
it'd be a good barbarian race. It'd be.
mm,
Uh,
what
it
was
should be a solid sorcerer. Like
mm,
it,
what was that
this
person
is.
that was able to like? You were telling me about this, where like they created essentially Oryx from Rainbow Six Siege.
Well,
In
yeah, they played the fastest character possible. They
yeah,
had, yeah, they were a Tabaxi monk rogue with like boots of speed, something that cast haste on themselves. They had another item that added a +10 to the. They were ridiculous. Um they
point.
could unimpededly move like over 1,000 feet and around without issue, and
Yeah,
then they could expend like haste and stuff to do more.
yeah. Point is,
They'll-
like if your main thing is mobility, this is practically like, and you're trying to do walking speed mobility, then yeah, I suppose go for this one. Not much
But
else.
this is the weakest of the races here, like
Yeah,
the sub races
yeah.
by far.
All right, let's move on to Bugborn then, because I think that there isn't much else we can talk about with Furborn. The Bugborn are beastfolk born originating from insects and other arthropods that live on land. You get a
Ooh,
+2 to Dex. You gain essentially spider climb. You can move up and down across vertical surfaces and upside down along ceilings while leaving your hands free. Also, you have a climbing speed of 30 feet. Essentially, you have constant spider climb. Um, Extra limbs, you have up to 4 small extra limbs, which allow you to interact with one additional object or feature of the environment during your turn. These limbs cannot hold weapons or shields and cannot be used to perform the somatic or material components of spells.
yeah, that it's a feature that has been used in other races, but it's not particularly game breaking. It
Yep,
means that you can open a door while holding a two-handed weapon. You can have an object being held and stuff like that.
pretty much.
It's it's not huge. The fact that it doesn't specify you can activate items with it means that
On the weaker
you
end of
can
the
hold
spectrum.
cannot be used to perform the somatic or material components of a spell, but what it can be used for is to hold your arcane focus.
Yeah,
Uh, or an item that will cast something for you, or an item that you just need to interact with to do a thing. Yeah, it's it's a free action basically.
Pretty much.
You already get a free interaction once per turn. This
You get
just means
two.
you get two. It adds some extra potential
Means
action
that
economy to your turns, but
actually, hold on.
honestly,
You could
is
use your normal free action that you have to activate something, right? But then on
yes.
top of that, you can use
Well,
the extra lens to do
usually
something. So.
it depends on what you're activating. Typically, that's an action.
Mm. Just allows you to do a little bit more, but nothing much. It's nothing too game breaking,
Yeah,
but yeah.
it's kind of cool flavor, but is otherwise kind of meh.
Okay, here's the one that might be a little iffy. Insectoid's talent. You can either cast Enhance Ability, self only, or Web Spell once with this trait requiring no material components, and you regain the ability to cast either spell in this way when you finish a long rest. Dex is your spellcasting ability for these spells.
I am on board for this right up until they use Dex for the spellcasting ability.
I thought you would be. That was my main
Uh,
thought coming into this.
the Beastborn already have Wisdom as an option.
Just make it
Like
Wisdom.
you get Wisdom as your thing. Wisdom is the weaker of the two. Uh,
But it is a
any other
wit.
race that gets these, it goes off of the mental stat that they would get.
Yeah,
This should also be off of the mental stat.
yeah.
Enhance ability on self, fine. Web, fine. No material components, whatever. Long rest. If it was a short rest, I would kick it.
Mm.
But no, that ability is totally fine. Though I do not like the use of Dex. It's not game breaking, but I would personally say change it to Wisdom and be done with it. That's it. Otherwise, Bugborn strong, but bleh.
Uh,
Strong, but not
Beastborn.
the strongest here.
Alright. Curspawn. Next race. Tall, slender, and with eerily long limbs. Their skin is a dark ashy color and it's covered by red, haphazard marks that wrap around their entire body. Pure black eyes sit on their imposing leather-like faces. These are none other than the Curseborn. The Curseborn comes from an accursed bloodline baned by a large rift to the void that appeared within prismatic falls. Thousands were infected with enervating magic in this catastrophe. While the death toll was zero, the energy morphed their bodies and blighted their souls, and a curse was inflicted upon them that became a source of new life. It granted them power, but not without an exchange for something else, which manifested differently in each person. Now the Curseborn live on as their own people, passing their curses and the power granted in association to their offspring. These people do not live in peace, their presence serving as a reminder of the failures of prismatic falls and their unsettling appearance prompting immediate judgment and animosity. Don't know how I feel about that.
Um, they're the tieflings.
Essentially tieflings.
They're the tieflings of the universe. That's
Yeah.
it.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't think there's much more that we can say about it other than like, oh boy.
Flavor-wise, I like them.
Yeah.
Honestly, I do. I think they're very cool. I think that they're one of those races that kind of come with their own backstory and their own reasons.
Yeah.
That little bit of edge that I like.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, they're cool. They fit in well with the theming of the setting. Yeah,
Um,
you can be creepy with them as well, which I like.
yeah, pretty much. Curse spawn traits now. So your con increases by 2, and one other ability score of your choice increases by 1. Standard. Completely
Uh,
standard.
uh, no, no, it's not.
For like, if you're comparing it to
There is.
like Dragonborn.
I am going to compare it to Dragonborn in a second.
Oh, okay.
So Dragonborn, you do get a con +1, but you have a strength plus. No, you have a charisma.
+1.
Yeah, it's
And
charisma.
strength
It's
+2.
which so not even Dragonborns. Um,
Yeah.
what I do want to compare them to is the half elf.
Okay.
The only other race where you get a static and a chosen. Half elves you get 2 +1s that you get to put wherever, but you have a +2 to your charisma. Do you know why I am more happy with the half elf than the curseborn in this situation?
It's a con, it's a primal one.
Because it's a con save or con stat that it is a objective +1 to your health, your concentration saves. It is a +2 to the most used stat in the game,
Alright.
and then a +1 to whatever you want. This is a min max's fucking dream.
I suppose. Let's just move through because I think you will change your mind about why this is fine for me.
I'm just that ability by itself. I would not let fly.
Yeah. Age, Curseborn reach adulthood at around the same time as humans, but only live up to 60 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're dealing
Again,
with a lot of short lifespans.
yeah. Size, medium. Speed, 30. Dark vision, okay. Um,
Okay.
Blighted form, you have resistance to necrotic, also you're immune to disease. Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot making me hate them. There's a lot making me hate them.
Debilitating curse. A powerful curse runs through your body, which is impossible to remove. You choose one of the following options on how your curse manifests: sluggish, skittish, frail, and weak. So you have 4. Sluggish, you have disadvantage on initiative rolls, and your base walking speed is reduced to 25 feet. Skittish, after you roll initiative, the first attack roll made against you within the first minute has advantage. Frail, your hit point maximum decreases by 1 and decreases by 1 every time you gain a level. Weak,
Oh,
1 ability score of your choice decreases by 3 down to a minimum of 1 in that ability score.
okay.
Yeah, it's
Sure.
kind of
That that
bad.
is that is heavily debilitating.
Heavily debilitating. Like, it makes a. I think it makes up for the ability score.
Uh, it it makes up for the 3 very strong abilities that this race has.
Mm.
Uh,
Especially skittish, because imagine going into a boss fight, then like, oh, advantage on him. Goosh. Like, hit him with like a fucking inflict wounds, hit him with like, I don't know, a guiding bolt that make them just another advantage against you, like immediately afterwards. You could just wail on this poor person. It would suck, but you chose it for a reason, whatever reason that may be.
let's have a look at this unleashed curse and
Yeah.
see how I feel about the race as a whole.
Starting at 3rd level, you can use your action to unleash the power of your curse, causing the red marks around your body to glow brightly and release powerful necrotic energy. Your transformation lasts 1 minute or until you end it as a bonus action. When you transform, you lose a number of current hit points equal to your level, and all creatures within 10 feet of you must make a constitution saving throw, DC 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your con modifier, or take necrotic damage equal to twice your level. During your transformation, the area within 10 feet of you counts as difficult terrain for you creatures you designate, and once on each of your turn, you can deal extra necrotic damage to one target when you deal damage to it with an attack or a spell. This necrotic damage equals your level. Once you use this trait, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. So, I'm gonna say it now. I think this would be a powerful class. Would be. If it didn't. Like, it would be insanely powerful if it didn't have a debilitating curse to it, and it was
I
just.
don't think that the curse makes up for everything.
You don't?
I do not.
Really? Okay. Let's hear it.
I'm just rereading this Unleashed Curse so I can make sure that I've got it correctly in my brain. Okay, so that's a save or suck at the very least. Okay, first off, all of the passives for the race, strong. Very,
Strong.
very strong.
Immune to
The
disease doesn't
the
really matter too
curse,
much. Yeah.
that doesn't matter, but necrotic, that is one of the most used damage types
On top of fire.
against players.
Yeah.
Or against players specifically, necrotic actually outweighs fire in all written uh, adventures.
I
Or all
suppose.
officially written adventures, necrotic has the highest usage in the game. Fire is the most resisted in the game.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it does feel very similar to an Asama.
Yeah.
Um, though without the radiant resistance. The only
Yep.
thing that kind of makes this okay, and even then barely, uh, is when you transform, you lose a number of current hit points equal to your level.
And then
Though
all creatures. So, like, it's party
then all
members.
yeah,
It's.
having been playing a Scourge Aasimar for the past half a year or so, that's easy to avoid hitting your friends.
Mm.
Uh, I will say if I was to play, if someone came to me with a curse-born barbarian, I would look at it and go, "Well, I'm fucked. This thing is going to be so insanely strong that the con save, DC 8 plus proficiency plus con modifier, that's huge in itself. Though there's no other stat that you can really put it into.
Mm.
Uh, take necrotic damage equal to twice your level. So you do that at max level. Suddenly you
40. Yeah.
yeah, that it's just 40 damage to everyone.
But, like, at level 20,
Or-
it's
or,
like you have people with
somebody's
legendary resistances. You have, like.
I'm being knocked on the door off. Give me a second.
Alright.
I've returned. A child needed my help.
Alright.
But yeah, so that is a free additional chunk of damage. At the loss of a couple of your own hit points, but that is such a small number that you could have healed back immediately.
Mm.
Even at max level, that's going to be nothing compared to your overall. Um, um, and then yeah, you get to add your level as necrotic damage as part of a first hit. So yeah, this is very much its own Asama race.
Yeah.
The Unleashed Curse literally feeling like a version of an Asimar's ability.
Pretty much.
The only real saving grace for that ability that makes it feel balanced compared to the rest of the class is the fact that you get the issue is a save or suck ability, meaning that you either save and take nothing, or you fail and take the
Take a
chunk.
chunk. Yeah.
So, like, that is fine. But I can already see a way that I could play this class and not feel any issue from the debilitating.
Yeah.
I'll just pick Frail. My hit point maximum decreases by 1, and it will for the rest of the game, but that's fine. Because naturally I have a +2 to my con anyway.
Yeah.
Meaning that, okay, I
+1.
am just going to map my con as if I don't have, or my health as if I don't have that. And then I'm going to live my life strong as hell.
Yeah.
Like, eh.
Anything else you really want to talk about it? Because there's no subclass to it. There's nothing really that...
Yeah, I guess the curse is kind of a subclass, but yeah, I will say I don't hate it. I don't think they're broken, just because they do have a lot of stuff that does hit them.
Mm.
Um,
It just seems that like it could be broken by the right people. You know, it like if you have a bunch of min-max group, you might not want to play this supplement already. Straight off the bat, I can say that right now. This supplement will not be the best for you. However,
was that start?
um, um, I was just saying, like, it's something that only min-max people, I think, would really be going into. Like, if you were in min-max, I wouldn't recommend this supplement at all. This isn't, like...
Oh, there have been some things I've seen so far that min maxes would love, honestly.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't... If you're going to be a min-max group, like, you might not want to play this supplement because everything will be way too fucking broken, and then you're going to be sitting there just like, oh boy, what
For
do I
min
do?
maxes, that's
Mm,
what they want. They this is great for min maxes.
yeah, this is like the epitome of like a
I can see
min-max
a lot
stream.
of flavor in Curseborn. I would say it's a solid race. Like,
Mm,
yeah, it's just there's so much that's strong about it. The curse and the loss of a couple hit points just doesn't make up for.
yeah, and also it's
Uh,
only one of the following for how your curse manifests as well. So like you could,
ooh, well, yeah,
yeah,
literally just pick Trail, and then you will honestly not notice a difference.
pretty much, pretty much. Um,
Have a high con, pick Frail, then your life is set. You're never gonna have to worry about it.
yeah. Um,
And the
let's...
extra damage that
I don't think there's
uh,
much I can really write on them, honestly, for game balance wise. I think that like maybe make them a bit more like the curse a bit more owie. Apart from that, like a bit more debilitating. But
do you want to know how I think they could balance it?
how?
The- Remove either Dark Vision or Necrotic Resistance. Kick one of those two abilities. The class will be fine, or the race will be fine.
Yeah,
But both of those abilities on top of everything else, nah, it's just too much. I do appreciate that they did what I said the Beast Folk cry should have.
yeah, should be
Where
towards your...
you can deal extra necrotic damage to one target
Yeah.
when you deal damage to it with an attack or spell, meaning you can't fireball and get extra usage of damage out of it.
Oh yeah, language isn't one of the... I forgot that was like one
Eh,
thing that we... But like it's languages, who cares?
eh.
Yeah. I suppose move on now.
Yep.
Eternals. The Eternals are an ancient, immortal race of undead that has lived for over half a millennium. Using their necrotic powers, they reanimate corpses to serve as new vessels for their souls once their current one grows weak, which allows them to live forever. Some of the bodies they use are bare as are as bare as a mere skeleton, but most tend to keep the flesh remaining on the corpse, resulting in a zombie-like appearance. The Eternals all mysteriously appeared in the ruins of an ancient city long ago without any memories of their past lives. Their new consciousness came into being within the bodies of what seemed to be, before then, living people. Over the years, these new people lived on, trying to discover what exactly they were, but as their flesh began to decay, they were compelled to wander the world in search of new bodies and for a purpose for their immortal lives. Eternals are unable to reproduce through normal means, resulting in a dwindling population count. While they are immortal, they are not invulnerable, and many of the original Eternals have died out since their first incarnation. On rare occasions throughout the years, new Eternals have come into existence. This is often due to a large destructive burst of energy, but the reason behind it, as well as a way to consistently replicate it, has not been found. Off the bat, what do you think? With roleplay wise.
Roleplay? I think liches as a thing is cool.
That was my first thought. That was like,
Yeah,
feels like a lich
lichy, body
race.
hopper, nightmare, plague, parasites. I think they're cool.
Yeah.
I like them as an enemy race. I like them as NPCs and monsters and not players, especially when you read into the mechanics.
Let's read into the mechanics of this one then. So, con by 1. Another ability score of your choice by 2. You're automatically hating it. It's con. I can tell.
The fact that it's con 1 instead of 2, I don't hate as much,
However,
but also fuck off. Stop doing this. Learn your damn prime stats game.
alright,
Whoever made this, +3 whatever.
plus 3
I just
price.
I just need to really push the prevalence of how strong con as a stat is and how strong choosing your second stat is. Like, you can't give us both.
Mm.
You can't give yourself both. If you're going to give your players the option of what other stat they get, you need to make your prime stat a weak one. Because they're going to pick a strong stat, or they're going to pick one that is just strong for their class. Con
Alright,
is so strong for
we're beating it.
everyone.
Let's stop beating this now undead horse.
Ah,
Um, age. As an Eternal, you don't age and show no signs of aging. All the original Eternals were born at the same time, and they were all 513. You're immune to magical aging effects. Jesus Christ, magical aging effects. Okay, how many things do that again? Like,
there's a few.
there's a few?
This is a solid few. There's a solid few.
Okay.
I've had a couple characters aged into near unable to adventure capacity.
True enough. Rebirth. Your body slowly decomposes over time, becoming unusable after about 40 years. When you cast the Animate Dead spell, you can use your action to transfer your soul to one of the creatures created by the spell. The spell immediately ends, and your consciousness, racial traits, class levels, and all of your other features are immediately transferred to the new body. The original body then immediately turns to dust. If the corpse had any mechanical augments, they cease to function and fall off the body before you transfer into it. So automatically, the Animate Dead spell. But is it only available to transfer you?
No. No, you get the ability to cast it later.
Well, alright.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kinda have to say no. That one,
That ability in itself, RP wise, is dope. Like, it
that's
is
cool.
fucking cool. This race is cool. I would not let a player use it.
Yeah. Size, medium, or small, depending on your current body's race. Makes sense. Speed, 30 feet. Makes sense. Brittle. Your decaying body has difficulty staying together. Your hit point maximum decreases by 1, and it decreases by 1 every time you gain a level. Kind of counteracts that. Semi-counteracts the constitution thing.
It is less counteracted than in the last one,
Curseborn, yeah.
the Curseborn, because it's only a +1 instead of a +2. But chances are, you probably have a decent con.
Yeah.
A lack of hit points is brutal. It can be brutal, especially if you don't have a natural way of fixing it just immediately, because that means you need to commit to do so.
Yep.
But you do gain con as a primary stat anyway, and you can just chuck a couple extra points in and move on.
Yeah.
Just don't play a wizard and you'll be fine.
Pretty much. Undead form. As an undead being, you gain the following benefits. You have advantage on saving throws against being poisoned. You have resistance against poison damage. You don't need to eat, drink, breathe, or sleep, and you're immune to disease.
It's strong. It's so strong.
Mm.
It's stupidly strong. The not needing to eat, drink, breathe, or sleep. I don't know if you understand how strong that actually is.
I understand how that's strong, but advantage on saving throws against being poisoned. You have resistance to poison damage. Dwarf.
It is dwarf, yeah, which is crazily strong.
Mm.
Dwarves are already mechanically one of the strongest races because of that shit.
Mm.
Like, getting a resistance as part of a racial trait is already huge. Getting advantage on a saving throw is even bigger.
Yeah. Collapse. As an action, you fall prone into a slumping, motionless state. While in this state, you are indiscernible from a corpse, and you are semi-conscious of your surroundings. After staying in this state for 6 hours, you gain the same benefit that a human does from 8 hours of sleep. Okay.
It's an RP ability that has some mechanical implements that I love, but just couldn't let a player use. Being
Necromantic.
semi-conscious of your surroundings is you're basically trancing. A little extra time, but you're a corpse.
Necromantic Touch. Once you reach 5th level, you can cast Speak with Dead or Animate Dead spell once with this trait, and regain the ability to cast either spell once you finish the long rest. Constitution is your spellcasting ability for these spells. Alright. Actually, I want to talk about Animate Dead. What spell level is it?
It is a 3rd level spell. They are both 3rd level spells.
And you both get like
at 5th level you can cast it, and it is standard to most races that get a spell at 5th level.
Yep.
They're usually a 3rd level spell. This ability, I don't mind.
Yeah, I think Animate Dead, 5th level, fine. Like, keeping it to 5th level I think is good. The fact that it's Speak with Dead or Animate Dead means that, like, this character is going to die no matter what, unless if it isn't a spellcaster. Like, this is one that you've guaranteed to be dead forever. Like, it will die once the corpse is dead, because obviously the corpse isn't usable after 40 years or whatever. So yeah, you've practically constricted it to a permadeath, no matter what. I think that is kind of fine. How about you?
Sorry, I got an important message at that moment.
Oh cool.
Which ability are we talking about?
Necromantic Touch, Animating Dead. I was just saying how, like, at 5th level, like, having Animate Dead or, like, Speak, it's just one or the other. You can only choose to one. to have with the trait, and then
Uh,
no, you get both
the
spells.
reading of it, you get both, and you choose which one you use.
Yeah, okay. Well, then it wasn't like I thought. Then I take back that whole rant. You're no longer condemning your character to permadeath.
Well, I mean, what do you mean? Condemning a character to permadeath?
Basically, with the wording from before, corpses.
Oh,
Um,
right.
I thought that it was you choose one, not the other. Um, but the fact that you can do both no longer is permadeath because I thought having a what's it called again already? I've forgotten. Eternal. Um,
Yeah.
being an eternal and just like not having animate dead. If you're not a spellcaster, you would be condemning yourself to a permadeath. When your corpse dies, you die too. And depending on how long after you want to have like the Eternals come into existence in your game, because it says like 513, I'm pretty sure people are gonna like flavor so that it'll be like, oh, 556. I don't know. Um, like whatever. Point is, how are you gonna reach that age without having animate fucking dead there? Like, I'm.
Yeah.
It makes the
But
whole of Rebirth kind of unfunctional RP wise. If you're going to say like, oh man, I am not level 5 at the beginning of the fucking campaign, like it.
yeah. But conveniently, they do have it. They will gain it.
Mm,
Um,
you forget for the past 4 years how to be able to make your body go into like your soul go into a corpse. You know.
well,
Eh,
there's always a chance that something happened. There's a reason that you can't cast it anymore. There's a reason you don't have that ability. Maybe you do have that ability and just don't want to use it yet. Maybe RP wise,
yeah.
you just go, nah. I'll I don't want to. I like this body at the moment. I'm happy with this body. Oh, now I'm gonna change it at level 5. Oh, convenient.
Yeah. Um.
It's whatever.
Yeah. Borrowed power. You gain one or more racial traits from the body you currently inhabit. Consult the table below for what traits you gain, or trait/traits you gain, which you can find in that race's description. Eternal can inhabit a soul-fueled nomad, or can't inhabit a soul-fueled nomad or unwoken bodies, so they don't appear on the following table.
I don't like this feature.
Yeah.
It's too strong.
Too
And
strong.
it's literally, if you look at what you're getting from each one, you're getting the strongest
Thing.
from all.
Yeah. You
You,
make it
you're,
a bit
you're getting
too
the
strong.
strongest. The
I
Eternals are busted. Would not allow at my table. There is no easy rework that I can look at them and go, yeah, that's fine. I would not allow these to be played. These are a purely, I would make NPCs like
yeah.
with these races.
I would make an NPC with this. I
Yeah,
like it doesn't feel like it could be done in terms of like
it could be. I
a
just
player.
wouldn't allow.
Yeah, I
It's
feel like it
too
would
strong.
have to be such like a man. I don't think I could. I don't think I could allow a PC to play it ever. That would be
No,
something that would.
I could not. The makers of this are really putting a lot of stock in the oh, you lose 1 hit point per level, as if that's a massive debilitator.
Mm,
Like, okay, that's fine. Then I'll play a fighter. I'll have a D10 hit die, and I'll have a +4 to +3 of con.
yeah,
Okay, I just played a fighter with a 12 con up to level 9. That's effectively what you've done, and I was the tank of the party.
pretty much.
So
Pretty much.
having a neg 1 to your health every level, it's not going to add up the way that you think it does. That's
Yep.
that's a total of 20 hit points throughout your entire existence that you don't gain. Sure, cool. That's 20 hit points that are going to stack up later, but by that later, we're in the hundreds already.
Yeah, pretty much. It becomes a little bit of
It's a redundant negation that they seem to put a lot of stock
faith in.
into.
Yeah.
Like,
Again, we're beating a dead
it's
horse here.
bad. And the borrowed power, too strong. Just the abilities you gain from it with all the abilities you already fucking have, too strong.
Yeah. If they will put a limiter on the animate dead thing to say that, like, oh, this can only be cast against a corpse that you want to willingly go into, like, you want to rebirth into.
It's not that strong a spell.
Yeah.
It's a free CR1 companion,
Mm.
but
Even,
it's still an extra hit points on the
yeah.
field. It's a free racial trait that it's in fact it's one or more racial traits from the body. Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
going to pick Battleborn. Suddenly I have proficiency with whatever weapons I want, whatever armor, and I can regain hit points when I get hit.
That one, no. Martial Prodigy is 3 weapons. Wounded Fury is the
Okay,
1d10.
then
Beast
I get
Vocal.
I learn how to use guns and regain hit points.
I think guns in this aren't as strong as. I think
They're
they're
pretty
still
strong.
1d8. Are they?
Some
I
of them
haven't.
are, yeah.
Okay. Alright.
They're also still guns.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
Guns.
it's just strong, too strong.
Alright.
Let's move
Nephilim.
on to Nephilim. Yeah, Eternals a no from me, Chief.
Yeah. Nephilims are a race of half divinity born from the rare meeting of a mortal and a divine celestial. The traits of their celestial heritage shine through in their form, granting them light grey skin tones and yellow markings dispersed through their body. Is it meant to be through their body?
Uh,
I'd hope so.
let's figure out exactly where you're on.
The traits of their celestial heritage shine through in their form, granting them light grey skin tones and yellow markings dispersed their body.
Huh. Yeah, yeah.
They also garner physical attributes from their celestial parent, such as small flightless wings for a diva or a light coat of fur for a pegasus. Did some?
Mommy fucked a horse.
That was my first thought. I'm like, who fucked a horse? Who? The holy
I
heritage
think
of.
we'll get through Nephilim and then I do have to head off.
Yep. There will be a part 2 to this.
Yeah.
The holy heritage of Nephilim often make them the center of attention, and many have inherently high expectations of Nephilim they encounter. They are even often worshipped by cults as icons of divinity and thought to be the purest of bloodlines. These expectations are often seen as a burden rather than a boon to Nephilim who wish to live more simple lives and escape the concepts of purpose or destiny that are continually thrust upon them. Many see Nephilim as the epitome of righteousness, but these judgments make Nephilim easy to manipulate and often lead them down tyrannical and cruel paths. Asimar, you
They're
made
very.
another one,
They
Asimar.
are they are the Asmar of this race of this
Wow.
setting. They just are.
Yeah.
They
Wisdom
even have
score
basic
increase
sensibilities.
by 2, your charisma by 1. I think that's a protector Asimar off the bat.
Uh,
Or
it's Protector but switched because
yeah,
Charisma is the +2 for all Asmar.
yeah, I thought so. Age, Nephilim mature at the same rate as humans, but live a few decades longer.
Okay.
Asimar, your
Wonderful.
spice is medium, speed is 30 feet, dark vision, eh. Another dark vision one could be broken depending on everything else. Doesn't look like it at the moment, but eh. You have resistance to radiant damage. Okay.
Yeah, that's not a very common damage type to be used against players.
Yep. Divine Legacy, the Thaumaturgy and Light cantrips. When you reach 3rd level, you can cast Cure Wounds with this spell once per long rest. Okay, that one's interesting. When you reach level 5, you can also cast the invisibility once with this trait, but you must target yourself and you regain the ability to cast this spell when you finish a long rest. Wisdom is the spell casting for both.
Uh, hmm. So what they've done here is interesting with the Divine Legacy.
Yeah.
Because curious if you know why this is mechanically strange.
Uh,
On a
I
5e standpoint, do you know why this is weird?
Isn't invisibility like a higher level spell?
Visibility is a 2nd level spell.
Yeah.
Um, so the weird thing is, uh, you've played a Tiefling, correct?
Yeah.
What do you get at 3rd level?
Hellish Rebuke.
Hellish Rebuke. You get to cast Hellish Rebuke at 2nd level.
Yeah.
What do you get at 5th level of a Tiefling?
Darkness, which is a level
Darkness,
3 spell.
which is a 3rd level spell. This has down leveled what you get from being a caster race.
Yeah.
You get a 1st level at 3rd and a 2nd at 5th instead of a 2nd and 3rd. Typically, it matches up with what a prime caster would get. Every other caster race gets that, except this one, which I would honestly argue makes them weaker. It's an
However,
interesting list of spells. Cure Wounds, a strong healing spell, but is touch,
mm,
and is honestly underused in 5e because of that. And invisibility, but only on yourself, also weaker than normal invisibility and not that strong, because it goes away the second you do anything.
let let's have a look at Blessing of the Gods, though. Let's have a look at that. The gods look over you, aiding you when the moment calls for it. If you miss an attack roll or fail an ability check or saving throw, you can roll an additional d20 and use it, potentially changing the outcome. Alternatively, when you hit with an attack, you can roll a d20 and replace the attacker's roll with the result. Once you use either of this option, you must use a short or long rest before you can use this trait again.
Oh,
Hmm.
that's a free point of luck.
Yep. It's kind of weak. I
Uh,
kind of have to say, out of everything here, Nephilim is kind of the weaker ones.
Nephilim as a whole is weaker. Um, let's see what's it got really going for it. It's got
Divine Legacy, Dark Vision, and
Divine Legends, Divine. I'm just gonna go down the list. So its ability scores a Wisdom +2. That's a +2 and a strong stat.
Prime Stat, isn't it? As well.
Yeah, it's a prime stat. Um, it's it's majority of the casters that aren't charisma, but it also gets charisma. Like if you want to play a caster that's not a wizard, Nephilim is a good choice for you.
Hmm.
You get Dark Vision, always solid. Resistance to radiant damage, not gonna come up that often, but when it does, will be a saving grace as radiant damage hits fucking hard.
Yeah.
Um, Thaumaturgy and Light to start with. That's an RP spell and that's an RP cantrip and Light cantrip. You honestly don't even need for yourself.
Yeah. It's great if
That
you're in like a group of people that are like humans or like people that just can't fucking see in the dark.
that Light is a supportive cantrip in this situation because you don't need it for yourself.
Yeah.
Uh, which is also the same way that they fit with Asthma.
Mm.
Uh, they get the Light cantrip to start with, but also have Dark Vision, so
Yeah.
uh, gaining a 1st level spell at 3rd, I would honestly allow that to be upcast as a second level spell.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I was just like,
Uh,
man, I love this. Why can't I cast at level 2?
yeah, the fact that it's a level 1 instead of a level 2 is a little weird to me in this situation. Um, I would probably change that to stick with the standard of a caster race. Invisibility on self at level 5. You're also weakening it. Like you're down leveling what most caster races get and putting a limiter on it. That's a little weak. The blessings of the gods, though, that is strong.
That is strong, I will say.
That is probably one of the strongest features I've seen today, if
Do you
not the
think
strongest feature.
do you think it makes it balanced though? That's the question. Do you
Yeah,
think that
I think Nephilim is honestly the most balanced race so far.
is there anything that you would change though? Like let them upcast to like Cure
Yeah,
Wounds level 2, and would you let them be able to
s-
cast invisibility?
turn Cure Wounds to a second level and get rid of that self limiter on invisibility. Yeah, that
Yeah. Like that's
that
what
that,
I was
that would be it.
thinking.
That would be it. Other than that, it's a solid race. It gets some good bonuses. Nothing wild, like +2 to wisdom. You're gonna have a cleric that's in love here. You're gonna have a fun druid.
Yep.
Um, any charisma, really any caster that's not a
Intelligence.
wizard here is gonna have a
Yeah.
fun time. Um, you can also get like a monk that's coming in with this, having fun.
Yeah, I can see a monk having an amazing amount of time because like being casting a visibility on yourself, then fucking
Yeah,
noping out of there.
potentially like
And
a rogue uh,
if
could
you were,
enjoy this.
yeah, a rogue, so long as that they're like a bit different flavor wise, I suppose, for like roleplay. Not being like most
Uh,
assassins, or most thief. Like I feel
These
like
judgments make Nephilim easy to manipulate and often lead down a tyrannical and cruel path.
Paladin I would like to see like this, and Nephilim,
Could be a
like a
paladin could be fun.
Oathbreaker
Really,
Paladin.
there is no class that you could not work this into.
Mm,
And that blessings of the god, that free reroll if you
D20.
are hit or if you fail. Like it
Yeah,
specifically states afterwards, like if you know you failed,
yeah.
you can reroll.
It's not like what was it? Which one?
And it's once per short or long rest. That's
Huge.
huge.
That's massive. Like you could do the whole warlock thing of like, hey guys, can we rest immediately? I used a spell. Oopsies. Like that's huge.
I didn't even notice that it was short or long. I thought it was just long and was already saying that it was strong. Never mind, keep invisibility as to self only, but still upcast cure wounds.
Yeah.
Uh, this is a strong race. That blessing of the god. Nah, keep divine legacy as is. I
Keep
think this
Divine
race.
Legacy
Yeah,
as is.
nah. Realizing that it's short rest.
I was kind of surprised by it, and then I kind of went along with you. You did kind of convince me otherwise. Won't lie.
I still think it would cure wounds at second level,
Yeah.
not game breaking. Like not for this class, it wouldn't be game breaking. I wouldn't even say it would be that strong. It's a solid touch healing spell that you can use once per long rest, I believe.
Yeah.
Uh, I'd have to play around with some numbers a little bit, but I think that's the only thing about this race that I'm kind of on the fence about is first or second level cure wounds.
Yeah. I
Other
can
than that, I think this is a good race. I don't have any real issue
major
with it.
issues. Yeah. Well, it's a shame because that's our final race. Like
That is
for now.
that is okay.
Yeah. This
Uh,
is it for today. Um, come back if you want to watch our next one. When do we want to do that?
I couldn't tell you. I'll have to sort scheduling and stuff out because I've got a bunch of my own stuff that I'm dealing
Yep.
with as well. But yeah, I will let you know when I can.
If you want to watch whenever we're gonna be live with the other one, because we will give you an update on when, please join our Discord. Would be great. It's in the chat. I don't think we.
Yeah.
It will be soon. I will say that much. I will say it will be soon. We will continue on. I think we haven't got many races left to go.
We're pretty much at the end.
Yeah,
There's a couple. There's like 3 or 4 new ones. Yeah, I will probably be streaming later.
Yep. Oh yeah, here we go.
But now I have to run off and go do some adult stuff.
Yeah, there's not much. We have a couple more races, and I believe we have. Then we're going to go through classes, which will probably actually make us actually have to have 3 parts to this.
Yeah, this is gonna be a chunky thing.
Yeah.
This will be a thing. Yes. For now, I need to run off.
Yep. All right. Well, see you guys. Have fun.